This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. So, Ethereum up, Ethereum back. Is Ethereum back for good? We will tell you today. Is Wall Street short Bitcoin? Wouldn't have thought you would think that, would you? Do they have all the Bitcoin that they're supposed to have? Or are they just moving money back and forth in Coinbase? What do you think? How is the market going to go down when the Ethereum ETF is eventually going to get approved? And I don't know that they've got all the Bitcoin that they say they have for the Bitcoin ETF. Now, why has the market traded so badly the last couple of days? Do we know? Is it GameStop? Was it just flat out fear? How about both? How about both? We're going to go through all the news today, and we're going to check out all kinds of charts. Okay, all kinds of charts. We're going to have Solana versus Bitcoin. So we're going to have Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And we're going to take a look at the chart of Arrow. The breakout, that could lead to a breakout along with other things. All right, let's welcome who's here. Forget about it. Is on. Steve J is here. I'd buy the dip for $1. Giddy up. Okay, Manuel is here. Cat D. Laughing Dolphin. Philip. Okay. WOJ. Luis Perez in silver. Okay. Clue is in the house. All right. Now we're going to give people a minute to file in. Just a reminder, this show is brought to you by my Patreon. Patreon.com/unhingedcrypto. We have a link in the description down below. Okay. And we're going to drop comments in the QR code. Now, one of the things that has not been discussed enough is this political token report I have inside the Patreon store. Inside the Patreon store. Discussing some major tokens related to the event in November, plus discussion about how that fits in with Fed interest rate policies. Noting how retail sales falling out of bed. It's called demand destruction. It's going to allow for gold to go higher because there are certain types of entities that are short gold. There are certain types of entities that are short Bitcoin. And the Ethereum ETF, even if they decline it this time around, is inevitable. Kathy Wood from ARK, there's news on that. They adjusted their application to make it more regulatory friendly. ETH has underperformed, and it's happening. Okay, fast altcoins, all kinds of different reports in the Patreon store. If alt season begins, the Pat store's got what you need, right? And especially, I think this thing about the events in November, the tokens around them, the funny ones and the serious ones can have much higher market cap. The upside targets for those tokens, as well as Fed interest rate forecasts around upcoming catalysts in the summer. Best thing I ever did. Please check it out. Please check it out. Okay, great. Filibuster is here with the super chat. Sir, as always, I appreciate you. Crypto Tilly, Robin, welcome. Aiken with the notorious love. Scott is here. Philip, thank you for joining. All right, people hopefully are going to start filing in. We're going to go to news. T-Bone, welcome. I know T-Bone's got one of those big tokens I'm talking about. He's going to love that upside target. Is the Fed about to make a mistake? Keeping rates high has resulted in unprecedented falls in certain types of inflation. So tight Fed policy has driven goods inflation into the deepest deflation in over 20 years. So prices of certain things way up, prices of other things falling sharply. Interest rates have been too high for too long. That's going to benefit gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. There are major catalysts for all three, and the ETH silver with Dixie dollar index lower, okay, that helps Ethereum. So even if there's a final round of Ethereum FUD, as long as there's no GME problem, market looks pretty good to me. Now let's talk about GME. Okay, so GME is, is a meme stock, right? You've maybe heard of it. It went from 9 to 60. Major hedge funds were long down in here. Okay, then there's a super huge pump. Then after the super huge pump, we get afraid that there's some big short seller out there in trouble, only to have GameStop come all the way down and fill this gap from when it exploded. So either GameStop is a nothing burger because GameStop itself is selling all the stock to fill these orders. That's theory number one. Theory number two is that it was just a one-off, right? So GameStop sells and raises money, okay, on the fly. AMC did the same thing. Now, the other flip side is that somebody is very short GameStop and it's problematic and it's enormous, and GameStop could turn around and going back up much higher. There's this huge tweet thread. So first everyone came out, it was this is not going up. It went down. Now people are coming back saying that there's a scenario, okay, where, GameStop itself, the company, could actually use the process of issuing shares to drive the market up. From a crypto point of view, I don't care about this unless it becomes a major problem and goes back up. Somebody's going to get liquidated. Someone's going to have a problem. Hopefully, whatever it is, it's done in an orderly way, because this was affecting crypto for 2 or 3 days. Now it's not, and I really hope it stays that way. Okay, here's the Financial Times headline: GameStop selling stock to fill the short squeeze, to end the short squeeze, which hopefully prevents a hedge fund liquidation. Okay, now I really like this. Jim Rickards, who wrote the original book Currency Wars, says $27,000 gold. So inflation is persistent and the Fed has to cut rates. So I'm not saying there's no inflation. There certainly is. But the Fed has to cut rates. They just do, right? The economy's rolling over and the debt problem is too big. So Jim Rickards, who was kind of like one of the original gold bugs, kind of anti-fiat guy, thinks gold at 27,000. Now, as I said in the beginning of the show, some entities out there are short gold, right? There's not enough gold to fill all the paper orders. If everybody who held paper gold wanted gold, there may not be enough physical gold. Okay, problem number one. Problem number two with the Bitcoin ETFs, just to say it has not been disclosed. The big ETF players have not formally disclosed how much Bitcoin they are holding. And my question is, are they holding enough? We'll go to Twitter from the guy that runs Zero Hedge, and we'll see what he has to say about it. Question: is Wall Street short Bitcoin? Question: does Wall Street need Ethereum, not only because DXY is going up and metals are going down, which is the primo environment for Ethereum, but it feels like they don't have enough of either. They don't have enough Bitcoin and they don't have enough of Ethereum, right? If for no other reason, to protect themselves in case, I don't know, something weird happens in TradFi. How many weird different things could happen in TradFi? I don't know. How long have we got on the stream? A lot. Bitcoin and Ethereum as protection against that. Notice how many entities are buying the Bitcoin ETF. The state of Wisconsin pension fund. Over and over and over again. Okay? Over and over and over again. All these pension funds and all these mutual funds are buying, and they move in herds. So they're buying the Bitcoin ETF, or they have bought the Bitcoin ETF, and Wall Street is still catching up to getting the amount of Bitcoin that they need. They may only have a fraction of it. This says nothing about what may happen if they decline the Ethereum ETF and then everybody goes, okay, this is my dip because of how much Ethereum has outperformed. Okay, here's one I like. This is from the same guy, Tyler Durden. The saltiest people by a mile over Bitcoin is the TradFi community. Can't even hide their hate. Tough to see the suffering of their fellow man. Wow. You're gonna get bearish crypto? Like, I have taken it on the chin, right? I have been criticized. Yes, this correction was deeper than I thought. But when I look at this and when you look at the rest of his tweets, I got it mixed in with some stuff from Ansem. How is anybody negative at this point? How is anyone negative? I mean, the only negative event that I can see out there really is if there's like whoever is short GameStop gets liquidated. Absent that, it's like nothing but bitters. Okay. Consumer prices have risen every month since, the current administration came in. It's up 20% to a record high. All right. So are we going to 50%? God, I sure hope not. Are we going to 50%? Or can it top out like that one article hinted at? Okay, GameStop shares fall. Okay, that's fine. And then we have first he bet against GameStop. Now Andrew left is long Bitcoin, short Ether. I kind of want to go the other way on that, and I hope he's right on GameStop. I don't know why everyone has just completely tossed Ethereum in the bin, particularly with macro catalysts everywhere. Speaking of that, DXY seen as the weakest G10 currency so far. If you've tuned into the stream, you cannot miss the DXY charts. El Salvador, Traveler, yes, I can look at Doge. Don't let me forget. 1 Bitcoin per day from El Salvador. You know what? I'm going to tell you something about El Salvador. They got all the Bitcoin they say they have, and so does MicroStrategy. And you got to start asking yourself about these Bitcoin mining stocks. If word starts to get around that there's a lack of transparency about how much spot Bitcoin the people who have issued the spot Bitcoin ETFs actually hold, okay, maybe that makes Bitcoin go up. Maybe that makes Bitcoin go up later. Maybe it's Solana, followed by Ethereum, and then Bitcoin in July. Who knows? Okay. All I know is that long-only players are siphoning this stuff out. El Salvador's got not only 1 Bitcoin per day, but they got the volcano going on. Okay. Now, you can't really see this that well, but Fed chair's confidence in slowing inflation is not as high as before. So he's got to say something about inflation, and somebody in Congress has got something to say about them, as in Jerome and friends. Now, I'm not sure Jerome and friends can, just ride off into the sunset like this legislation describes. But I wanted to bring your attention to a slight shift going on in Congress. Seems like 2/3 of Congress is suddenly very interested in repealing a law allowing banks to custody Bitcoin. It's like, when did Congress get so interested in allowing banks to have Bitcoin? They wanted to repeal the law. Now, that law has been sent to Brandon's desk, most likely, I guess, for a veto. But I wonder how Congress got interested in crypto. Well, maybe it's because crypto popularity is cool in an election year. Or maybe our friends at BlackRock made a phone call. Maybe they made 90 phone calls and said, hey, you like crypto now because we said so. All of a sudden, everything goes pro crypto. So crypto for the common man from Zero Hedge. Crypto, politicians dig it. All the politicians dig it. If Brandon capitulates and signs the bill, good luck keeping the ETH ETF from happening. now or later. And even if he doesn't sign it and it's vetoed, that puts BlackRock out funding every candidate who anybody will listen to about being pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin ETF. Notice how all of a sudden everyone is interested in crypto. The value proposition for crypto is there. A rebellion against the powers that be is on and in the news. Yet what was everybody doing 2 days ago? Selling. Everybody selling. Everybody selling. Why? Why? ARK21 Shares amends its ETH ETF filing. I'm going to see Kathy talk at consensus. So they're eliminating the part where they wanted to stake the ETH that they bought. Regulators were never going to go for that. Okay. This ETH ETF is going to happen. They want it. They need it. They need it. If they can't get enough Bitcoin, they're going to switch to Ethereum, and they already are. Just not sure people are like fully paying attention to this. Okay. Now, the guy that founded Dogecoin, let me just bring that up here. So Dogecoin, Billy Markus isn't a big fan of regulators ahead, and he's implying that the current compromised state of the regulators holds little good potential for ETF approval. Okay. Yeah, but remember the song and dance about the Bitcoin ETF approval, right? They said, no, we're pushing the decision out, and then eventually the market decided to start pricing it in. So today's a good day for Ethereum. Maybe there'll be another day where it's not a good day for Ethereum. I am thinking the case for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana is so compelling that all these people who said the cycle was over are going to wind up eating their words. Because if you think about things like AI on the block, how do you have AI generating assets? How do you have AI generating assets and know who owns those assets unless you store them on the blockchain? Why 6 figures is no longer buys the American dream in most places. Okay, so these headlines are everywhere. It's like every media outlet has to run. This is how much money you need to live. This is how much money you need to live comfortably. That's nice. That's a good way to numerically say it. But how do you push back, right? Like, where does the extra $30,000 a year come from? Well, it's not coming from your TradFi investing portfolio. Stan Druckenmiller, right, the greatest trader of all time, just sold his NVIDIA shares. We had a heck of a run. Stan Druckenmiller says 440,000 NVIDIA shares. The guy has never had a down year. Never in equities. Never had a down year. Can you believe that? With all the crashes and all the problems, he's never had a down year. He believes you should put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket closely, very carefully. Okay, that's not investment advice, and that's not for the faint of heart or the new. And he doesn't like diversification. He's like, if I'm going to do something, if I believe in it, I'm going to believe in it. For him, it was NVIDIA, and he just exited, and he never sells. Basically, that's a saying, right? There's a saying, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs don't do well. Pigs meaning people that don't take profit. Druck's like, no, I like being a pig. I like just riding that trend and just saying, if I can remember why I bought this, I don't get off the trend. Yeah, every time it goes down, I feel like selling, but you know what? I'm not doing that. And he just rode NVIDIA. And we can all take a page out of that book. Now, especially since everyone in crypto is all negative and Solana has been up only for 3 days and no one's paying attention to that. So save some stupid liquidation event. What is holding crypto back? There are so many constructive catalysts. Okay, the BRICS nations are in the tape today. Okay, and I don't know, they're going to give the dollar a run for their money. You know what? BRICS headlines are cool. Politicians like to get together, take pictures, shake hands, say we're going to do all our trade in our own currency, and that's fine, right? But that's not why the dollar should go down, and that's why the dollar needs to go down. The dollar doesn't need, in crypto, everyone's like, it either goes to the moon or zero. In the middle, there's a gradual trend lower that needs to occur in the dollar. And believe it or not, it's actually healthy. When the dollar goes down, people are less afraid. When people are afraid, they stick money in the dollar and drop it in an account at the Fed. When the dollar falls, people feel better about other currencies, other markets. The other thing is, if you have a debt problem, the only way out of a debt problem is to devalue the currency. So again, wait until you see the DXY charts. You're gonna look at the DXY chart and wonder why you haven't seen the DXY chart anywhere else. Thank goodness you're here to see it. Okay, Long Shark, the sheepdog, that's me. Let's go. Okay, Routine Cheese, silver is running, ETH is next. Layer 2s are popping. Okay, Arbitrum, which I think is going to have a big AI coin release called Morpheus. Optimism. Okay, Optimism. Okay, yes. T-Bone is saying his election coin is exploding. Okay, here's a question. What should the collective market cap of all major election coins be? What should the collective market cap be? I'm going to give you an answer. Ready? Ready? 10 billion. At least 10 billion. They should be some of the biggest memes that we have. We have dogs, we have cats, and then we have people. And the people who get elected or stay around, prominent figures, I saw Warren Buffett was moving the other day. They're going to do this. And there's no better thing to do it in than in the thing in November. So, I mean, we should probably try and do it and add up the market cap for all these different coins. Right? Like take WIF, take, okay, yeah. So here come, I'm not going to show this. So it looks like total market cap right now, maybe it's 700 million, maybe 10 billion. That's what this whole sector is worth, in my opinion. We will go through this. Yes, Wen, which I like, Raven, which I have not looked at. But again, as I've said on the stream, real world assets and DeFi, the need for that is going to appear very quickly. I was kind of wondering if it was going to be GameStop. I hope it's not. But when that is upon you, that will be upon you. Real world assets and DeFi will emerge urgently, in my opinion. Right? Now, again, I could live with a little bit more upside in crypto first, so we can stop the negativity. Ansem. Boy, I tell you what, I really like this guy. Right? He's taken like the Wendy O stream of consciousness thing on Twitter to like a whole nother level. The guy's been saying, yeah, first pullback in big meme coins and the cycle's over. Wrong. I agree. Follows me on Twitter. I'm honored. He says, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. How do people not see this? Back to the guy from Zero Hedge. I don't think you're able to comprehend the enormity of what's aligning across the board. A couple of triggers away from the most, hyper-aggressive risk-on altcoin rebirth, it will dwarf any historical cycle. Well, that certainly is a good way to get attention on Twitter. It also happens to be true because he's telling you that after Solana has gone from 120 to 160 or 170, kind of all by its lonesome. Meanwhile, the market was just falling apart with fear over, sometimes I don't even remember what, like, okay, yeah, is there going to be a GameStop liquidation? Okay. How long did that last? How long has every bearish catalyst last? Oh my God, interest rates. Oh my God, inflation. Oh my God, geopolitical conflict. GameStop, 2-3 day nothing burger. Is that over? I don't know. But it is for today. And even if it's not over, was it a reason to get negative permanently? No. Meanwhile, the thought leaders are like, hey, this is lining up. It is lining up. Okay. The second paragraph from the Zero Hedge guy. If you want to know how it rumbled, one of the ETFs actively trading on Coinbase hot wallets had double the amount of cash than Bitcoin they pretend to own. So I don't know. Maybe that's Twitter drama. But here's a question. Do the people that own the spot Bitcoin ETF have all the Bitcoin that they say they have? Do they? Yeah, maybe it's all sitting at Coinbase on their behalf. Maybe. But do they have everything that they need? And is that why they're going after Ethereum? In other words, if you can't get enough Bitcoin, you better get some Ethereum. What else are you going to hedge? How else are you going to protect yourself? It's the same thing with Solana, right? This because the Solana ETF is also next. What's going to stop Solana? Nothing. Nothing is going to stop Solana, right? Everyone's like, oh, memes are dead. No, memes are not dead. Memes are the core of the cycle. Memes are how the people push back. Now, if you're on pump.fun, which is fun, okay, I know, but, you know, if you're on there, you're going to risk losing money, okay? Coming off this, coming back to news for just a second, because the Eagle King hooking me up with some breaking news. Morgan Stanley reveals $270 million in Bitcoin ETF, making it the top GBTC holder. Interesting that they did GBTC. At least we know Grayscale does have the Bitcoin on hand that they say they do. Interesting, don't you think? I think so. I think so. This show is brought to you by my Patreon, because if you think we're discussing this now, we've been discussing it for 3 days inside Patreon in No Holds Barred podcasts, where I can say whatever I want, and I can't say whatever I want on these platforms. Although I'm grateful to be here. You want the real deal, you got to get in there. Okay. One ETF has proof of reserves. Now, the dollar, DXY in 2023, DXY topped. 13 days later, Ethereum took off. In 2024, DXY topped. 13 days later is today. Today, May 17th. Oh, ETH's up 5% today? Huh, how about that? Patreon had this chart last night before the 5% rally when everything was trading awful. Awful. 2023, you take this part of the dollar index, this downtrend, cut it out and paste it over here, and it seems to be tracking quite nicely. Okay, the dollar fell out of bed here. The dollar is going to fall out of bed here. It's just going to be a simple, orderly move back down to 100. Not the end of the world, but it's probably going to go much lower as Ray Dalio, who loves to come out on the tape before something happens and said, danger, danger, danger about debt. The only way out of a debt problem is to devalue the currency, period. End of story. End of story. Close the economics book. If you know that, you pass the test. DXY has to go lower. Yeah, dollar yen may prevent that, sort of, may slow that down, but I think it's safe to say DXY has topped. DXY has topped, and you got to ask yourself, how is anybody going to stay out of the crypto market? How are these institutions going to be able to stay away? And what has happened to altcoins that 3 months ago had a fantastic value proposition that have all been marked down 60%? Okay, now, Politify, right? This is what I have. Okay, there's the orange man, there's Brandon, and then there's the guy with the voice. Okay, the guy with the voice is at 16 million market cap with a cup and handle on a 4-hour chart. The symbol is RFKJ on ETH. Okay, it's also on Solana. Okay, so this is a big cup and handle. This is a small cup and handle on a 30-minute chart. I think with these kind of tokens, you're going to know, because the orange man's token is up around $10. This is the 15-minute chart of the guy with the voice. Okay, this is the coin that makes fun of the orange man. That's at its high. So like I said, all of these tokens, because you can bet pro and con, the same guy with two different tokens. And you may be able to hold both. One's serious, one's funny. Okay, this is the serious token for the orange man, also sitting at its high and not moving. This could go to $1 billion. If this goes to $1 billion, what's the whole space worth? What happens if the guy with the croaking voice gets some attention? MicroStrategy. Did you know that 20% of the overall stock in MicroStrategy is sold short? 25% of what they call the float is sold short in MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is like a meme stock. Everyone shorted against the Bitcoin ETF. But that's funny because Michael Saylor, we know he is allowed. We know he's got Bitcoin. Or we're more certain he's got Bitcoin than we are that other people do. There's a head and shoulders bottom here. The upside target is 1650. This stock could just keep going and going and going and going because everyone's shorted. MicroStrategy is the new GameStop. Wouldn't it be funny that if the liquidation that occurred was all the shorts getting blown out of MicroStrategy? Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about that for just a moment. These crypto equities, no one wants the crypto equities. Coinbase, this blue chart is a cutout of the bear market and flipped. How about a bottom in Coinbase on May 24th, 5 days before consensus? How about it? Right? When Coinbase went down, it would, it moved, it sat, and then it moved. How about a move starting in Coinbase on May 24th? Galaxy Digital, a crypto hedge fund. Couple guys doing a bro hug. One brother runs Galaxy. Another brother works for Millennium Capital, a monster hedge fund with a $2 billion investment in Bitcoin. But yeah, we don't want these crypto equities now. It's just forget about it. The all-time high in this stock is like 40. Yeah, 13. Yeah, we don't want it. Just spend how many days? We got, what do we got? 15 days or 20 days of everybody tripping over themselves to sell this stuff? Crazy. So we have equities. That's the candlestick chart. That's the S&P 500. Making a new all-time high. Druck filling everyone's orders in NVIDIA up here. That's kind of funny. But, Bitcoin way off its all-time high, barely able to hold a bid. Everyone's, oh, God, I'm upset. Meanwhile, equities just going up. It's going up. VIX. Okay, so let's talk about risk in equities or fear. So this candlestick graph is VIX, which is an index of fear in equities. As you can see, when fear in equities goes away, frequently that can lead to positive price action in Bitcoin, which is the orange line, right? Fear topped. Bitcoin slowly started rising last year in the fourth quarter. Okay. Fear has topped, and now Bitcoin can start its slow rolling move back up again. Meanwhile, Solana and alts doing the same thing. Fear falls, dollar falls, dollar falls. Fear falling, good for Bitcoin. Dollar falling, good for Ethereum. And that's the market update. Right? I mean, this comes from an economist, Raoul Paul, who says the economy is getting to the point where the Fed is going to have to put high-powered money into the system. And if somebody gets liquidated on GameStop, they're going to have to do that in a much bigger hurry. Do you think they want to get blamed for an economic rollover in the middle of a recession? I'm sorry, in the middle of an election? No, they absolutely do not. They absolutely do not. So these are all the examples of what happened when the Fed had to put high-powered money into the system. 2013, 2017, COVID 2020. High-powered money is coming. Demand destruction. Like, I went to the grocery store. A friend of mine likes this particular soda. It went up 10% since the last time I bought it. If it wasn't for this being a really good friend and the fact that my friend really likes this soda, I would have walked away. I just bought less. I would have walked away. I am so sick and tired of every time I go pick something up that there's a higher price or a shrunk package or both. I have this new thing when I go shopping now. I pick it up and I go, huh, and I put it back down again. It's called demand destruction. It's happening. Solana, here's a base. The bigger the base, the higher in the space. I like near mixed beans. The bigger the base, the higher in the space, right? Solana does nothing. It sits between 160 and 120 for well over a month. And it didn't do anything before that. We'll get to that chart next. It breaks out above the top end of the range at 160, gives you a little DeMark pause sign, retests it, and it's back. Headed for the next DeMark point at 185. ETH, sitting right on this dotted line at 3,000, seemingly forever. ETH finally popped through. I think it needs to get above 3,200 before you can really get excited. But ETH has a pulse. And Ansem says, I will stop saying mean things about ETH now. I feel the trade and my point has been made very clear. So he's a big Solana fan. Obviously, Solana has done well. But I do think it's interesting that he's like, you know what? ETH has, he's not saying this, but ETH has underperformed to such a degree that I think we can all stop hating on it now. And what happens if that happens and Cathie Wood comes in all at the same time with silver and the dollar and all that stuff happening at the same time? What happens if the regulatory environment for ETH either flips now or will flip in the future? No one is thinking about this. It is going to flip. I mean, Ansem let off the pedal. How about everyone else? Solana versus ETH, you win either way. Solana versus ETH is at its high. Okay? So does that mean Solana could blow through and make a new high? Sure. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with Solana. What happens if Solana versus ETH pauses and ETH catches up? Well, gee, I'm fine with that too, because that's going to be ETF driven, right? The ETH ETF has all of a sudden become very interesting to me. Solana versus Bitcoin. Hey, Solana's up a lot, right? Yeah, it is, but it's got more room to go up versus Bitcoin because Bitcoin outperformed so massively in March and Solana has underperformed. Like if Solana is at 200, where's the rest of the market going to be? Really? Like, do you think Solana is just going to go up and go up? I mean, you can have one coin markets, but what is everyone doing here? Why is everyone negative? Why is everyone selling? I understand there could have been fear of a liquidation event. Okay. Silver. Okay. So silver's at 30. There are DeMark topping signals, right? I'm paying a little bit closer attention to these things, particularly after, the crypto decline. All right. Now, the key with these DeMark signals is, one, silver is going higher, much higher. If it ignores these signals, it's definitely going much higher. If it doesn't ignore these signals, perhaps there's a better bet. Could that be Ethereum? Okay, but these are the sign of a pause. There could be a blow off top to 32. If that happens, that's probably take profits. But the point has been made about precious metals. Now, let's talk about an altcoin, and we'll get to live TA. Okay. You have a head and shoulders bottom in Arrow. This is the DEX plumbing for Base. Base is a network that allows you to have a fiat on-ramp and off-ramp on a decentralized Coinbase wallet. So it's like Uniswap without all the steps. You have a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder on an intraday chart of Arrow, 89 minutes. So if Arrow breaks 114, it could go all the way up here and go to 140 something. If Arrow goes to 140 something, in other words, if this pattern gets triggered, you'll have an upside target up here, which will trigger a double bottom. So one bullish formation could trigger another. And the bottom line is, if Arrow gets above 114, it could feed on itself and go to 174. This is the first time, say, in an altcoin, I found something I was like, wow, this and Solana, hey, this could feed on itself. Not to mention, if you just look at some of the base coins, like Normie was like $100 million market cap that went to 20 million. DGen just absolutely wrecked and then came back 20%, right? All the cat coins are hanging in there. We'll talk about that if we can in live TA. Okay, going to live TA at warp speed. Warp speed. Okay, let's start with Doge. You all know what I think about Doge. One guy on Twitter said it. I can't possibly say it any better. How many opportunities are you going to get in something like Doge to build the position before it just launches itself? Before it just launches itself, right? So here's the 4-hour chart of Doge. Okay. This feels like a head and shoulders bottom with an upward sloping neckline. Okay. It feels like you've got two of them. It feels like you have a little one and a big one. You have a little one, and the right shoulder itself is a head and shoulders bottom. Just an absolute freak show. Again, like Arrow. Bullish patterns that can trigger bullish patterns. If you broke out of this, it's not quite that. But if you broke out of this, you would actually, you would put pressure. If you broke this neckline, you'd break this neckline. And when you have these upward sloping necklines like this on head and shoulders bottoms, I mean, normally the necklines are like this. In this case, they're up here. This can be so absurdly bullish, like absurdly bullish. And look at these meme coins, right? MOG up 17%, WIF unchanged, PopCat up 1%. So Pepe up 1%. So memes are not running away from you. They're actually giving you time to get in. Meanwhile, Solana up 5%. Okay. Paul is noting that Link is moving. By the way, did you know I applied, if you're out there, I applied to go to the 5-year anniversary party, the 5th birthday of Chainlink. Chainlink will be 5 years old. 5 years old in dog years. It's like dog years in crypto. It's like you're ancient. Okay. Again, Chainlink, triple bottom. You take out 1606, you hold 1606. The possibilities here for an altcoin breakout, I don't know. Frankly, it seems obvious. I mean, look at the individual candlesticks. You break out, you slam back, right? You rush up, you come back down, but it's still green and you hold, right? So, I mean, there's still bearishness out there. I don't know what GameStop's going to do. And you know what? In many ways, I don't care. I don't care because I don't even understand. Like when I look at Chainlink, I don't understand what this was all about. I couldn't figure it out. I thought there was a liquidation event around GameStop. Maybe it was just people puking. Honestly. Let's see. Oh, somebody wants to look at MOG. Let's look at it. Okay, I'm looking at MOG, WEN, and PopCat. So here's MOG on a 4-hour chart. Okay, that's kind of a big range. Okay, notice what happens. They ran the stops. This is the 62% retracement right here. So the market was there 2 days ago for MOG. So you have the 62% retracement. And again, if you're just joining the show, okay, this is the live TA section. Please feel free to drop a comment down below. Please check out the Patreon link down below. Feel free to join because I have a chat there where you can request stuff. So please check that out. And obviously, if you can't check out the Patreon, please hit the like button because the Patreon customers help bring this free content to you. MOG gets back above the 62% retracement after making people miserable. And you know what? Ansem had a really good point about WIF. He's like, you know what? We had to live with multiple 70% drawdowns on this before it finally went to billions. And this is classic, right? They force you out, they force you out, they force you out, and then they bring it back. Okay. When? Really interesting. Like I'm into people but like, I might have to go to like a different kind of chart here. Let's see if I can get Wen going on like the, okay. So let's go to a daily chart of Wen. And how much you want to bet? We're doing the 62% retracement dance. Thing that's scary about these things is how long they can run stops below 62%. And then you have to ask yourself what happens when it comes back through it, right? You have to ask yourself that. Okay, so somebody wants to check out Fetch, T-Bone. And I'm not going to lie, I have not been able to comprehend the price action that I've seen in some of these altcoins. Now, what I will tell you on Fetch is that the 38% retracement of the overall move is at 221. And I can tell you it's probably been extremely annoying. It's probably been extremely annoying to sit here and watch this dance around 221. But headed into consensus, unless the market falls apart, if it's above 221, I'm inclined to leave it. Now, that said, I would like the market to get it together soon. I would like to see some impulsive price action soon. Not picking on Fetch by any reasons, but I hate triangles in crypto. I hate them because they always frequently they wind up resolving themselves to the downside. Again, if Fetch is above 221, it's fine, but this does remind me to go to Bitcoin dominance, right? Because Bitcoin dominance has been giving me absolute fits because I got another trend line here, right? I got another one of these triangle formations, right? First, Bitcoin dominance falls, and I think it's alt season, and then Bitcoin dominance explodes because altcoins blow up. Man, if Bitcoin dominance falls below 55, it is on in Ethereum, and it is on in Solana. So that was a long-winded answer to T-Bone's question. Look, man, if it's not below support, I'm not getting out. Good morning from New Zealand, Caroline. Welcome. Airblock, ABT. Coinbase coin. Wow, look at this. I don't know. Probable upside target 482. Coinbase is famous for having these coins that are like objects in motion. There's like another one. I can't, maybe is it Seam? Yeah, Seam. So like, on a 4-hour chart, really thought this was a diamond. It still might be. This should be a lot higher, honestly. This has major upside potential, in my opinion. Okay. Okay, Raven, right, and Near, mixed beans. Okay, a lot of people forget that Near fixes everything that's wrong with ETH. A lot of people forget that. And I don't understand why nobody thinks layer ones are going to be important. I mean, when was the last time you heard anyone say the word layer one? When was the last time you heard anyone say the word layer two? No one. No one talks about it. I mean, to me, it looks like Near has broken above a key point at 746 and is consolidating for a move to 10. And if you got a dip back to 746, that would be kind of Christmassy. But this feels like it wants to go to 10 because it just made the statement 2 days ago. Now, Raven, again, covered in a couple of other shows in Patreon, there is a clear case for real world assets on the blockchain. And I don't understand why everyone has sort of abandoned that whole idea, with Ray Dalio on the tape saying the things that he's saying about debt and the need to have an alternative financial system. I mean, this looks like a giant rounding bottom. I mean, I know you've got these two stupid spikes, but I don't know, Ravencoin down here, buy or sell. You know, it's like, it's on support, right? Somebody said New Zealand may be doing something with their beehives. Man, there is a lot of weird stuff going on. Rich is here, a big Patreon contributor. Sir, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Okay, MOG we did, NEAR we did, LNDX. LNDX. Okay, LNDX. Okay, so this is a good time to talk about, you know, like this, Normie, DGen. We haven't seen this in a while. It's called a give up trade, right? In other words, like people inside the project sell, all the hodlers and all the people who love it, they all sell right there. Like just 3 straight days of absolute down only. And then it comes back. Now, it's got to get above this, and it's trying. It's got to get through there, right? That's like $1.40, $1.38. It's giving it a good shot. It definitely appears like with this and a lot of other things like DGen, it's like anybody who was going to sell did, or anyone who was forced to sell has sold. Like Normie. Oh my God. Oh my God. This went from 10 cents to 2 cents in a month. It's not even a month. This went from 13 cents on April 8th to less than 2 cents. A Coinbase meme coin. A base meme coin, excuse me. Okay, let's see if I can get higher. Let's do this over here. This is another base meme coin. I want to see what the market. I want to seriously see what the market cap is on this now. Higher. You know how everyone in crypto Twitter says higher? Yeah. So the market cap on this is now 23 million. Look what they did to this thing. Like, I don't even know if you need the Fib retracements. I mean, yeah, it's up 25% today, but when something goes from 12 cents to 2 cents, yeah, the bounces are going to be huge. So this was the original takeoff point. I'm just doing this kind of on the fly in higher. Boom. That was where it originally took off, and now it's back again. And everybody is negative. Everybody's negative, right? I did DCA in May as a theme that the market was going to give you 6 opportunities between now and the end of June to get involved. I got to think that GameStop was one of them. If GameStop gives you another one, take it. I mean, where does this go? 0? It's got a $25 million market cap. The market cap up here was like 100 and something million, right? I mean, again, where's it going? Kronos is pumping out meme coins as well. Okay. In other words, everybody's not going to win in meme coins. Meme coins can be a recipe to lose money. Obviously, what happened to Normie higher and to a lesser degree, DGen. Okay. But, you know, just remember that things like PopCat, right? Here's PopCat. My level's 47 cents there. Okay. Bonk and Whiff and things like that are like 4x levered Solana. So if you have Bonk and things like that taken off, You don't have it yet. Bonk is just like doing nothing. However, if they take off, again, it's like levered Solana. Like here's an 89-minute chart of Solana. I don't think you got anything approaching a top in Solana until you get to 178. That's minimum. I think it's 185 is more like it. You know, we can also look at ETH. You know, if you want to talk upside targets in ETH, let's talk about it. Okay, so we know ETH can go down if they don't approve the Bitcoin ETF. We know that. But what you don't know is that if ETH holds 3063, as much as charts can matter, 3263 is next. All right. So let's wrap this up. DCA in May worked. DCA, Art is in holiday in Greece. Welcome. DCA in May worked. That's good because it's been hard to find anything that works lately. Any dips in this market that are ugly are now opportunities because conviction is rising. Macro is going the way of crypto. Politics is going the way of crypto. There are huge swaths of this market, DeFi, RWA, AI, and Politify, that are all, frankly, massively undervalued. ETH is underappreciated. The street is short gold and Bitcoin, and Solana is up only. I leave this to you. We will see you next week.